Hey guys, so I'll make this another quick one. I got around to start playing with testing, specifically with Jest in our CDKTF project. And to get started, I actually pretty much just copied what I had in the original. Like when I did CDKTF in it, it gave me this whole test directory and the setup.json, as well as the Jest config. I copied that over to the the modules folder, as well as installing with everything in it. And if you want to take a look at how I did that, you can just copy all the Jest files, the Jest modules that I've got in package.json, the Jest, the TS Jest, and the types Jest. That will do. Just have these three in the same package.json in your modules directory, and then that'll take care of that. But so once I got to that, now in the modules directory, I started writing a test. I'll show you exactly where I've gotten so far. Is that this is the default jest file, apart from everything that I've written here at least. It is There's plenty of examples here, and you can probably get away with making whatever testing you want. Right? Keep in mind this is unit testing. This is not integration testing. So it's not going to test in your cloud like something like TerraTest. So that's just, I just want to put that out there. Now, the first thing I'm doing is I'm having these like it and then describes and then it again. I don't really need to go this layer deep. I could probably just go with a describe. In fact, I'm going to try it right now. And let's see what it does. Oh, I know I'm not using it. Hold on. So let's say that expect shouldn't be testing dot scope. Sorry, is it no, synth scope? That's what I want to use. Yeah. So synth scope, and give me the scope, and then it's an arrow function, and then new company bucket, pass that scope, and then some string, and then we don't have to do anything there. And yeah, so that company bucket is our company bucket that we've got in our S3, this whole construct right here, right? So anything and everything that would be included in this construct, all of the resources can be tested. But there are some things that we have to be careful with. Like we want to make sure that we provide, like sometimes, like for example with Terraform output, we want to capture the actual output, what the value should be, and we want to capture it. To capture it, we have to provide it as a property to the class, and even for testing. But I want to get not sidetrack here a little bit. So that that whole thing, to have property, or sorry, to have resource S3 bucket. And yes, I didn't really need to go this layer deep. I don't need to do the it. Like I can just do describe, or I could do it directly up there. It doesn't really matter. But anyway, so that should work. In fact, I'm just gonna bring that back up just in case it doesn't work. And now if I run npm run test, as you can see, I ran a test with a falsy test before because I said bucket object to make sure that it is indeed working. It now says true. And let's run a falsy test again. Let's change that to a bucket object. Oops. So let's say that, oh, this resource should have a bucket object. Just humor me, right? We're going to see that import error. It is going to be there, but now it should fail, as it does. And it tells us exactly which line it failed in. The difference between, I guess, when using describe versus it, like it doesn't actually tell you what the context is, where over here, when it failed, it says, unit testing for a stack, and like, it should do something should be present. I don't really get that data here, right? So I guess you do need the it function call. You don't really need it, but you would want it. So let's revert that. Let's get rid of this, and then use all of that, get rid of this import. And so that's all great, and it's nice for sure. What I wanted to do was that I wanted to take a gander at getting the value of this bucket. So I wanna get like a property somewhere, right? So I don't know how to do that quite just yet. Let's find out if I let's see if we can find out. So expect let's say testing dot synth scope arrow function new company bucket. And I'm sure you can actually variabilize this out. You don't have to do this each and every time, or you can put it into a function. Second bucket, and we don't really need any args. To have property, right? So this is where it gets a little crazy. So I don't know what this looks like, and that's the that's the fun part, right? So there's no example that I see that has to have resource with properties, resource with properties, image, and then Ubuntu latest, right? Some application. Okay, so this can work. I don't know what image is. Images, I'm assuming. Okay, so I know what image is. It's Terraform's image. Um, and then there's also two match snapshots. So this one is fairly um rudimentary. Like, so when you use two match snapshot, it will create a synthesized template. Actually, let's go ahead and do that. Maybe that can give us our what the test actually looks like. Um, it can give us a synthesized template of our entire construct. So now I'm not sure where it would put that, but it's there. I think. Right. So yep, there it is. Snapshots. And let's see what main test snap looks like. Okay. So we see that there's a resource S3 bucket. So when you say have like, to have property, uh, this maybe, but we could also see that there's going to be this particular thing, right? So we might be able to do this. We might not be able to do this. I'm not 100% certain. Like, I don't know how to check this to have property second bucket name something, right? So anyways, I digress. I'm sure there's ways to figure it out, but I just wanted to demonstrate that there are testing capability. Let's take a look at a little more testing, right? So maybe we'll find something here that can give us a little more. So here, this is where we have the scope. So if we wanted to use a scope over and over and over again, we can pass that into the scope. So in this example, I don't know if you guys can see it. I can try and oh, that was terrible. I have to do this line by line. Wow, that's uncomfortable. Right, so like you create a stack and then you can pass the stack into your construct. So like this Terraform provider will also take that. I just wanted to show this. Like, so rather than doing this whole thing where we say expect something and then scope and then that scope gets passed into this during synthesis, we can actually have an actual unit testing with a snapshot with a stack. And so that actually works out best. That this would be the best way to do proper testing, especially if you're going to do a snapshot testing. And if you were to do a excuse me, a to have property to have resource with properties. Where's an example? Yeah, so if you were to do that, so expect testing synthesis scope, new application to have resource properties, image is the resource, and then the properties is Ubuntu latest. So if we added a property to our thing, let's test it out. Why not? S3.ts. So let's say that we want to see this whole thing. So we'll take Do you need the entire thing, or will it just catch everything? Let's add a different one, just to keep something simple. What do we want? We could do ACL. ACL. Oh, I can't remember what this thing is. It just private, public, and restricted? Like, what were the options for this? It's valid values are private. Okay, great. Okay, so we'll just do private. So we can do that then in that case, right? So expect something. We can take this whole thing. We don't have to match snapshots. We can say resource to have resource with properties S3 bucket. And then the properties are going to be ACL private, right? We want to make sure that it's going to be private. And maybe it'll fail, maybe it won't fail. Oh, it failed. Okay, why did it fail? It says must be present in the synthesized stack, but it wasn't present. But it should have been present. Oh, you know why it wasn't present? Because I didn't build. And if you, that's one thing I forgot to explain. I'm actually importing company bucket from build, from the build portion, not the actual construct that I'm providing over. So you build first, you run tests. You build first, you run tests. That's how it's gonna work, it seems. So let's go ahead and build. And let's test. And I'd still fit. Oh, wait a minute. Look at this. Cannot read properties of undefined. I am failing a test. Where am I failing this test? It says cannot read properties of undefined reading KMS key ID. I know why this is not working, because this is a question mark and it's null. So now, hopefully, it won't be undefined. But I need to run build again. There must be a better way to not have to run build and run it with it directly. And I am running another. Wow. See, now the snapshot changed. And so I have to be able to update the snapshot, because the original snapshot did included, let's see, what did it do? There was expected, received to match snapshots, CDK, blah, 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 blah. Resource ACL private, and this was added in, but these were added in, but it wasn't there before, and it should have been there, and it wasn't a part of the original snapshot. And if we take a look at the original snapshot, right, we can take a look at that. Main.test.snap. It doesn't include any of that stuff. It only includes just the fact that there is a bucket. So let's go ahead and update the snapshot, which says update for jest, and now it updated the snapshot. And now let's run a test, and it passed. So now let's take a look at the snapshot, actually. So now you see all of this fun stuff in the snapshot. You get the whole resource as well as the details in the snapshot itself. So this is how you go about testing your constructs in an isolated manner away from your devs actually using them. So you can go ahead and publish, before you publish a new version, you write it and you test it out, you make sure you catch all scenarios, and then you go ahead and publish a new version. And so that, I will leave it at that, and I will see you guys next time.